That's a photograph of Sir Arnold Wyatt's daughter.
Yes, I took it myself a fortnight before the accident happened. She was such a lovely girl. We were all deeply shocked when we heard that both she and her husband had been killed. Excuse me.
Thank you.
I'll be with you in a moment, sir. Now, when your friend has finally fixed the date of the wedding, just drop in here and we'll make the necessary arrangements. Meanwhile, I think you'll find all the information you require in the brochure. Now, what can I do for you, sir?
What have you been help?
Could I have a black coffee?
What's the matter? You look as if you've seen a ghost.
I think I have. There's a photographer's just down the road there, Mortimer Brand.
Yes, I noticed.
Did you look in the window?
No, I didn't. Why?
Because if you had done, you'd have seen a photograph of Phyllis Dusal.
Are you sure?
Absolutely sure. But that's only part of the story. I went into the shop and I spoke to this chap, Brown. Well, I assume it was Brown, but anyway, he told me that it was a photograph of Sir Arnold Wyatt's daughter.
Wyatt's daughter? But you told me about Wyatt's daughter. You said she'd been killed in an air crash 2 years ago.
That's right. That's what Sir Arnold told me.
And then you must have been mistaken about the photograph.
The photograph I saw in that window was a photograph of the woman I met in Geneva. The woman I brought down here 3 weeks ago. I'm absolutely sure of it.
Then obviously Brown made a mistake. I mean, that's the only possible explanation.
As soon as I mentioned the photograph, he said, oh yes, that's Sir Arnold Wyatt's daughter. Oh, thank you. He even mentioned the husband. He talked about the plane crash.
Well, perhaps your friend Phyllis just looks like the devil. I mean, photographs can be very deceptive.
It was a photograph of Phyllis Dusal.
Well, do you know what I think you ought to do with that, Phyllis? I think you ought to talk to Sir Arnold about it. I think you ought to tell him about the photograph and ask him if it is his daughter.
That might be difficult.
Well, why difficult?
Well, I have been to see him twice already. I'm sure he thinks I'm a little bit odd, to say the least.
Well, I don't see what else you can do. Wait a minute. Didn't you say he was a fan of mine?
Yes, he is.
Well, suppose you use me as an excuse and we both drop in on him.
Good morning, Mrs. Cassidy. Do you think I could have a word with Sir Arnold, please?
I'm afraid he's rather busy at the moment, Mr. Matty, but I'll see what I can do.
Oh, thank you.
Who is it, Mrs. Cassidy?
It's Mr. Matty.
I'm sorry to trouble you, Sir Arnold.
Not at all, not at all. Come in, please. Hello. All right, we'll meet later in the village, Mrs. Cassidy.
This is my brother, Claude.
How do you do, Sir Arnold?
How do you do?
You did say if he was ever around these parts.
Yes, indeed, indeed. What a pleasure this is. Now, come along, both of you. Let's go into the library. Yes, I told your brother if ever you found yourself in this part of the world, I should be so pleased to meet you. And now, here you are. Oh, this is good. You know, I've been an admirer of yours for years. I think I've got every recording you've ever made.
Thank you, Sir Arnold. That's very nice to hear. I've just made a new one. I'll make sure my agent sends you a copy the moment it's released.
Oh, really? Oh, that is good of you. Thank you.
I hope you forgive us for intruding like this, Sir Arnold, but something happened this morning which...
Yes, go on, Mr. Matty.
Well, the last time I was here, you told me about your daughter. You said she and her husband had both been killed in a plane crash.
Yes, that's right.
Well, I saw a photograph of your daughter this morning. Well, at least I was told it was your daughter.
Sir Arnold, did your daughter have her photograph taken by a man called Mortimer Brown?
Oh, yes, indeed. I remember the day very well. As a matter of fact, it was my idea. I hadn't got a decent photograph of Pauline, and I thought... why are you so interested in my daughter, Mr. Matty?
My brother saw the photograph this
I
morning.
thought it was a photograph of someone else, you see, someone I know. So I went into the shop to make inquiries. The photographer told me that it was a photograph of your daughter.
In fact, you were mistaken.
Well, I don't know whether I was mistaken or not.
Well, I'm sorry, I'm afraid I didn't quite follow you.
Could we possibly see a photograph of your daughter, sir?
Oh, yes, indeed, by all means. Now, let me think. Yes, here we are, I think. Ah, yes. This is it. Now, of course, Mortimer Brown took several photographs, naturally, but I think probably this is the one that you saw. Now, what's wrong, Mr. Matty?
This is your daughter?
Well, of course.
It's not Phyllis Dussau.
No, it isn't. It definitely isn't.
Phyllis Dussau?
The photograph in the window was the photograph of the woman I've been looking for, Phyllis Dussau, the one I told you about.
And Mortimer Brown told you it was my daughter?
Yes.
Well, why on earth should he do a thing like that?
I can't imagine why. It's the one in the middle of the window to the left of the wedding group.
Well, that is my daughter. That's an enlargement of the photograph I've just shown you.
It's not the photograph I saw. The one I saw was quite different. I called here earlier this morning and asked you about...
Of course you did. Good morning, Sir Ronald.
Good morning.
I won't keep you a moment.
No, it's all right. I'm with Mr. Matty.
Oh, I see. It was about a wedding, if I remember correctly.
Yes, but that's not why I come back.
Mr. Matt is still curious about the photograph of my daughter, the one in the window. I understand he's already spoken to you about it.
Yes, he has. What is it you want to know?
Well, in the first place, I'd like to know why you've changed it.
Changed it?
Yes.
I'm afraid I don't know what you mean, sir.
You know perfectly well what I mean. The photograph in the window isn't the same. That's not the one you showed me.
I take it you're referring to this photograph?
No, I'm not. I'm referring to the photograph you showed me.
But this is the photograph I showed you.
You showed me a photograph of a friend of mine, a Mrs. Dussau.
Mrs. Dussau?
Yes.
Look, let's start at the beginning. My brother asked you about a photograph which was in your window.
Yes, that's quite right, sir.
He asked you who it was, and you said it was a photograph of Sir Arnold Wyatt's daughter.
Yes, that's quite correct.
Look, but it was not that photograph.
But it was. I mean, I ask you, why on earth should I show you a photograph of somebody else and pretend it's Sir Arnold's daughter?
I can't imagine why, but you did.
Mr. Brown, are you alone in the shop? I mean, do you have an assistant?
Yes, I have. Mr. Fellows. I believe you've met him, sir.
Oh, yes. Well, is it possible Mr. Fellows could have changed the photograph without your
No,
knowledge?
it isn't. Mr. Fellows is away, on holiday. Besides, nobody changed the photograph. This is the one you saw, or the one I showed you, the one we talked about. Well, damn it all, it's been in the window the whole week.
I'm sorry if I embarrassed you.
No, not at all. I'm sure in your position I should have done exactly the same. Well, obviously there must be a perfectly simple explanation.
Well, there is a perfectly simple explanation. He's not telling the truth.
But why should Mr. Brown lie to you?
I don't know why.
And why change the photograph in the window? After all, he didn't know you'd be coming back to the shop.
No, that's true, Mr. Matty.
In other words, you both think I'm making a mistake.
Well, to be perfectly honest, we do.
Well, there's nothing more to be said. If you'd like to jump into the car, Sir Arnold,
Oh,
I'll
no,
run you
thanks. No, that won't be necessary. I've got some business to attend to in the village. Well, goodbye, Mr. Matty. It's a great pleasure to meet you. I hope we may run across each other again sometime.
I hope so too, Sir Arnold.
Well, goodbye, Mr. Matty.
Bye, sir. I know what you're thinking.
Do you, Peter?
You think I'm so obsessed with this girl that I imagined I saw her photograph in the window.
I'm afraid you're wrong. That's not what I was thinking, but it's a possibility, I suppose. A trick of the light. Perhaps that's what did happen.
Brown switched the photographs. Don't ask me why, but he switched them.
I wish I could believe that.
What do you think happened?
I don't know what happened, Peter. I just don't know.
Oh, don't look like that. I can assure you, I'm not going around the twist, if that's what you're thinking. I've got to make a phone call. I'll be back in 10 minutes.
I thought your brother looked very well, Mr. Matty.
Oh, he's fine.
How long's he staying down here?
Oh, probably a week, 10 days. He needs a rest. He works too hard.
Oh, I'm sure he does. Well, I hope he keeps fine for him. The weather report's not too bad.
Hello.
Hello?
Hello, is that you, Max?
Peter! Where are you? Are you in London?
No, I'm in the Isle of Wight. Listen, I'd like to see you. I want to have a talk with you.
Oh, fine. Is it urgent?
Well, yes, it is, rather. How are you placed at the moment?
Oh, lots of lovely things in the offing, old boy, but as it happens, at this precise moment, I am terrifyingly free.
Great. Listen, I'll see you this afternoon. Come to my flat about 5 o'clock.
Yes, okay. But what's this all about?
Well, I mean, I'll tell you when I see you.
Come on, I'm curious. Tell me now.
I'm offering you a job. An assignment.
A job? Well, I'll be there, old boy. 5 o'clock, on the dot.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Matty.
Mrs.
You did give me a fright.
I'm sorry. I didn't think you'd still be here.
Oh, well, I'm a little later than usual. I thought you were staying on that boat of yours for the weekend.
Well, yes, I was, but unfortunately some business came up which I have to attend to.
Oh, what a shame. Well, I'll be off now.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Have a nice weekend.
Oh, is Mr. Matty in?
Yeah, he's just this minute arrived. Who shall I say was...
Oh, no, that's all right. He's expecting me.
Max!
Well, here I am, Squire.
Good of you to come. Come in, sit down.
Oh, thanks.
What would you like to drink?
What are you having?
Oh, scotch, I think.
Oh, well, I'll have the same.
Soda?
No, thanks. Just a spot of water. You've just got back?
Yes, I drove back this afternoon.
Just to see me?
Yes, I told you. I've got a job for you.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
Cheers.
Cheers. I thought perhaps you might have changed your mind as I was on my way over here.
Well, why should I change my mind?
Well, no particular reason, but that's just the kind of luck I've been having lately. To tell you the truth, I badly need the work at the moment. All I can get.
Alimony trouble?
You've said it. My wives are at my throat again. All three of them.
Maybe this will keep them quiet.
Well, it's very generous, old boy.
Don't you worry, you're going to earn it.
But what is this job?
Do you remember about 3 weeks ago? I told you I'd met a girl called Phyllis Toussaint.
Oh, yes, you met her on the plane coming back from Geneva.
Right.
And we talked about her husband, Norman, who was a journalist who'd been killed in some kind of accident. Something to do with a doll.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do I come into that?
She's disappeared.
Disappear?
I don't know whether she's alive or dead. She could be kidnapped. Anything. But I want to find her. I've just got to find her.
Oh, come on! Don't tell me you've fallen in love at last.
That's the understatement of the year. I just can't get her out of my mind.
No, Peter, you take my advice. Just forget it. Forget it.
Max, I need help. You've got to help me find this girl.
Well, it's not really in my line of country, old boy, but well, I'll do what I can.
Great.
And how do I start?
Well, first of all, I want you to make inquiries, discreet inquiries about two men. Mm-hmm. They both live in Heatherdown, and that's on the Isle of Wight. One of them's called Sir Arnold Wyatt.
Wyatt?
And yes, W-Y-A-T-T. The other one's called Mortimer Brown. He's a photographer. He's got a shop on the High Street. Sir Arnold is a retired lawyer, and he lives in a house called Forest Gate Manor. It's a beautiful house, just right outside the town.
Manor. Right. Sir Arnold Wyatt, Mortimer Brown. Oh, what do you want to know about?
I want you to find out if by any chance they're friends, close friends.
Good morning.
Oh, hello. Good morning.
Don't let me interrupt you.
Well, I'm glad you have. I think I'm in danger of overdoing it.
You're like me, I expect. Don't take any exercise for 3 or 4 months, then try and make up for it in a couple of hours, huh? May I come aboard?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry. I thought you were just passing. My brother's in London, I'm afraid.
No, it's you I want to see, Mr. Matty. I'm wondering if you'd be kind enough to autograph this LP for me. It's one of your recordings.
Oh, yes, of course.
You see, it's, may I?
Yes.
It's our village fete next week, and they're having an auction. Well, they have an auction every year. And I usually, try and find something a little bit, unusual for them.
Yes. Well, if you'll excuse me while I...
No, it's all right. I've got one, Mr. Matty.
Oh.
Here we are.
Thank you.
No, thanks. It's really awfully good of you. Oh, yes. Oh, that's very nice. Oh, thank you. Oh, the vicar will be delighted with this, I know.
Are you fond of sailing, Sir Arnold?
No, I'm afraid not. I'm no sailor. I get bored so quickly, that's my trouble. I can't wait to get back on dry land and stretch my legs.
Yes, I know what you mean. I must confess I enjoy it, but, well, I seem to find very little time for anything these days except work.
Yes, I'm sure you must work very hard. Both you and your brother must be very hard workers.
Yes, I suppose we are, really.
Your brother's in publishing, I believe.
Yes, he is.
And doing very well, I hear. Someone was saying only last week that his firm have got offices all over. Paris, Rome, New York.
Well, Paris and New York, certainly. I don't remember Peter saying anything about Rome.
Oh. Well, they must have been mistaken. Your brother must travel a great deal?
Yes, I suppose he does, but I'm the traveller, I'm afraid. I seem to live out of suitcases these days.
Yes, of course. Well, that's your profession, isn't it? Still, it must be very rewarding being a concert pianist.
It has its compensations, certainly.
Well, I really must be getting on. Oh, thanks. Mr. Matty, forgive me, but your brother's called to see me 3 times quite recently, and each time he's discussed an acquaintance of his, a certain young lady called Mrs. Dusal.
Yes, I know, and I think I know what you're thinking, and I can't honestly blame you. But I can assure you that Mrs. Dusal does exist. She's not just a figment of my brother's imagination.
Oh, well, I'm quite relieved to hear it. I must confess I was beginning to doubt. Yes, well, I must get on, and many thanks for this. Really awfully good of you, and I do appreciate it. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Here's the letter you were looking for.
Ah, thank you, Molly.
It was in the other file.
Well, I knew I'd seen it somewhere. It's all right, dear, I'll get it. Peter Matty speaking.
Hello, Peter. How are you?
Claude, I'm fine. How are you making out? How's the boat?
Oh, the boat's fine. I'm the one that's suffering. Too much hard work. When are you coming down here again?
Oh, well, probably in a day or two. I'm not really quite sure.
We'll try and make it for the weekend.
Oh, I'll be down for the weekend, definitely, if not before.
I had a visit from a friend of yours this morning.
Friend of mine?
Yes.
Oh, Mrs. Frinton.
Oh, no, not Mrs. Frinton. Sir Arnold Wyatt. He wanted me to, autograph an LP for charities. The church fete, and they're holding an auction.
I see. Well, what's the weather like down there?
Well, it's not too bad. It's a bit windy. Are you busy?
Well, yeah, Look, do you want me to ring you back?
No, it's okay. By the way, Peter, have your people got an office in Rome?
Rome? No. Oh, we have an agent there. As a matter of fact, we don't do much business with Italy, really.
But what's all this sudden interest in Matty Publications?
It's just Sir Arnold. He said someone told him you had an office in Rome, and I said I didn't think you had, that's all.
Well, did he say anything else?
Well, nothing of importance, but, well, I can't help feeling the record was just an excuse.
An excuse? For what?
I don't know. Let me know when you're coming down again.
Of course. I'll leave a message at the post office. Bye.
Bye-bye, Peter.
Mr. Matty,
Yes?
I don't suppose you remember me, Mortimer Brown. We met the other day when your brother came into my shop.
Yes, of course I do.
I hope you'll excuse me, but I've been thinking quite a lot about your brother and about what happened in the photograph.
You're not the only one. I've been thinking about it too.
Yes, indeed, I'm sure you have. I bumped into Sir Arnold. We had another chat. And I'm afraid, like me, he's utterly bewildered by the whole business.
So am I, Mr. Brown, and so is my brother, Will. He simply can't understand why the photograph was changed.
But it wasn't changed. I assure you it wasn't. The photograph you saw was the one in the window, the one I showed your brother in the first place. Mr. Matty, forgive me for saying this, but, has your brother been ill recently?
Mr. Brown, my brother is not suffering from hallucinations, if that's what you're thinking. He's a perfectly sane, highly respected, extremely successful businessman.
Yes, I know that, what Sir Arnold told me. Then how do you account for what happened?
Well, I can't account for it.
Mr. Matty, this woman, the person your brother's been looking for.
Mrs. Dussau?
Yes, have you ever seen her?
Yes, but only briefly. I caught a glimpse of her at Geneva Airport. I certainly wouldn't recognize her again.
You mean you have actually seen her?
Yes, I've seen her.
Do you want these to go off tonight?
Well, I don't know till I see them, do I?
I did say I'd like to get away early today.
Of course, Molly. Off you go. I'm sorry. If there's anything urgent, I'll post it myself.
Thanks, Mr. Matty. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Max Lerner phoned while you were out at lunch.
Max Lerner? What did he want?
He wants you to go round and see him sometime this evening.
When?
He said any time after 5.
Did he say anything else?
No, that's all. He sounded a little embarrassed, I thought.
Thank you, Molly. See you tomorrow. Max! Max!
Peter, you made me jump.
Oh, it's a bit unwise to leave your front door open, don't you think?
Well, I just popped upstairs. I can't stand black coffee. Had to borrow this from the bird in the top flat. I'm always borrowing something from her. I'll have to stop it. She's beginning to think I fancy her.
My secretary told me you wanted to see me.
Yes, that's right. Like some coffee?
Yes, thanks.
Take sugar?
One. No milk. She only told me half an hour ago. Otherwise, I would have rung you back.
Not to worry. I don't charge for seats, you know.
Thanks. Well, you might as well tell me and get it over with.
Well, it's not that easy.
Look, Max, I asked you to make some inquiries on my behalf. Right now, if you found out something unpleasant or something you think I'd rather not hear, I mean, that's my problem, it's not yours.
It isn't that.
Well, there's something on your mind. Come on. Come on, let's have it. This is the check I gave you.
That's right. I'm giving it back.
Giving it back?
Look, Peter, I'm sorry. I can't accept the job you offer.
Listen, you already have accepted.
Well, then I've changed my mind.
Change your... Look, you said you needed a job. You said you badly needed the money.
Well, yes, I know I did, but that was before I had this fantastic offer.
What offer?
There's a new advertising agency opening up. They're going to make films. Advertising films for television. And, well, they've offered me a 5-year contract.
I see.
Well, I was in television originally, you know. I've always wanted to get back, and, well, this offer's good. It's incredibly good. I can't turn it down. Honestly, old boy, I can't.
When are you due to start?
Well, the end of next week. I'm flying to Stockholm at the weekend.
Stockholm?
Yes, it's an American company, but they're based in Stockholm.
How did you hear about this offer?
Well, I answered an advertisement about 6 weeks ago. I'd forgotten all about it, and then suddenly, out of the blue, they telephoned me.
When?
When?
Yes, when? When did they telephone you?
Well, Tuesday evening or Wednesday evening, I'm really not sure. Look, Peter, I'm sorry about this. I hate letting you down. I hate letting anybody down, but I really have no alternative.
Suppose I make this offer of mine worth your while. I mean, really worth your while.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't know what those other people are offering you, but just suppose I double it. What then?
It wouldn't work. It's frightfully generous of you, old boy. Bloody generous, in fact, but it wouldn't work.
Why not?
Look, I've told you, I want to get back into television. Besides, I've got problems here in London. 3 ex-wives, alimony, God knows what. The thought of getting away, living in another country, it appeals to me right now.
Well, there's nothing more to be said. Thanks for the coffee.
Peter, please don't think that I'm ungrateful. And please don't think I've forgotten all the things you've done for me in the past. You've been a damn good friend, in more ways than one. I shall always try and remember that.
Okay, Max.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can I help you?
Yes, a friend of mine has an appointment with Mr. Reed at 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock?
Yes, Mrs. Dusal.
Yes, of course. Mrs. Dusal's appointment should have been at 4 o'clock, but it was changed to 3:30. You've just missed her, I'm afraid.
Phyllis, where the hell have you been? I've been looking all over for you. Why didn't you come back to the boat? Look, have I offended you in some way? Didn't you want to see me again?
No, I wanted to see you again. I intended to come back, but... Peter, please go. Please
Look, I've
leave
just
me alone.
got to know what all this is about. Why did you lie to me? Why did you just disappear like that?
Peter, please go. Just leave me alone.
Look, do you realize what I've been going through these past few weeks? Every day, every single day I've thought about you. Phyllis, listen to me.
Let go of my arm.
Not until you tell me what all this is about.
Look, I can't tell you. Please leave me alone. Now, let me go.
Do as she says, mate.
Look, you keep out of this. It's none of your business.
What goes on in my taxi, mate, is very much my
Will you
business.
let go of me?
Oh, no, you don't.
Don't be an idiot. She's a friend of mine.
Friend, God help your enemies.
Look, I'm warning you.
Listen, mate, that handbag was left in my taxi and I'm responsible.
You say you knew the lady?
Look, I've already told you that she was a friend of mine.
Was a friend of yours?
Look, I use the past tense simply because I haven't seen her for some time. She disappeared with my car.
Oh, I see. She stole your car.
No, she didn't steal it. I lent it to her.
Well, you lent it to her and she didn't return it?
Well, yes, she didn't. Look, I think we better forget the car.
Yes, I think perhaps we'd better, sir. Now then, tell me about this handbag.
Well, there's nothing to tell. I mean, she dropped it. I picked it up.
Yeah, he picked it up. Of course he picked it up. But what the hell does that prove? He probably dropped it in the first place.
But did he actually have the handbag in his hand when you opened the taxi door?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right. What'd they call this friend of yours?
Phyllis Dusal.
Her address?
I don't know her address.
You don't know her
No,
address?
I don't know her address.
Has she got a telephone number?
I don't... Look, I suggest you look in her handbag.
I've already looked, Sergeant. There's no means of identification.
I see. Yes, well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to book you, sir.
Yes, well, not till I speak to my solicitor.
Name, please.
Look, I insist on telephoning my solicitor.
All in good time, sir. Now, will you kindly give me a name, please?
Matty.
How'd you spell that?
M-A-T-T-Y.
Initials?
P. Peter Matty.
Time to pick him up.
Sergeant. 5 minutes past 4. Sergeant.
Sergeant Clifford. Yes, that's right. Who's speaking? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I'm listening. Yes, he is. Yes, sir, I understand perfectly, yes. Of course, sir. No, sir. Not a word. Yeah, very good, sir, very good. Oh, would you step in here for a moment, please? No, Mr. Matty. Not you. Well, Mr. Matty, you're free to go.
Free to go?
Yes, there'll be no charges. You're dismissed.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Matty. The post was early this morning. It's on your desk. There's quite a collection.
Thank you.
There's a letter from Angela Blackwood. She's finished her new novel at long last.
I don't believe it.
One book every 4 years. I don't know how on earth she manages to live.
I do. She has a fleet of wealthy boyfriends.
You must be joking. She looks like a horse. Excuse me, there's a gentleman on the phone. He won't give his name, but he insists on speaking to you.
What does he want?
I've asked him, he won't tell me. But he's very polite. He's got rather a nice voice.
Well, tell him I don't want to speak to him until I know what it's about.
Yes,
all
right. Could you please tell me what it's about? I see. Hold on. He says it's a personal matter about a friend of yours.
Friend of mine? Put him on. Hello? Peter Matty speaking.
Mr. Matty, I'm sorry to trouble you so early in the morning.
Who is this?
We have a mutual friend, Mrs. Dussel, and she's asked me to telephone you and say, first of all, how very sorry she is about the incident which occurred yesterday. And secondly...
Look, Mr. whatever your name is, if Mrs. Dussel has a message for me, I'd like her to deliver it personally.
You know, I thought you'd say that. And I must confess it's a point of view with which I have the utmost sympathy. If you hold on, Mr. Matty, I'll see what I can do for you.
Peter, it's Phyllis.
Phyllis, where are you? Where are you speaking from?
Please listen to me.
Listen, who was that chap on the phone just now?
I'm sorry about yesterday. I lost my head. I couldn't... I shouldn't have disappeared like that.
Well, you do seem to be making a habit of it.
Look, I made a mistake in the first place in driving down with you that day. I've regretted it ever since, and, well, I apologize for all the trouble I've caused you.
Look, we can't talk on the phone. I want to see you. I've got 101 questions I want to ask.
I'm sorry. I can't see you. It's quite out of the question.
Why is it out of the question?
Look, I've just told you. I made a mistake and I don't want to see you again. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is.
Is that really what you want?
Yes. Look, I don't want to sound offensive, but there's just no point in our meeting again. I should only regret it.
Look, have I offended you in any way?
No, not at all.
Why?
I just don't want to see you again. It's as simple as that.
Well, it's not as simple as that as far as I'm concerned. I want to see you. I want to know why you lied to me, why you told me that story about Sir Arnold Wyatt, and why you... Don!
Yes, Mr. Matty.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
The same again.
Yes, sir.
Is that 3 I've had?
4, sir.
4? Are you sure?
Yes, 4 doubles, Mr. Matty. Are you sure you'd like another one, sir?
I'm positive.
It's none of my business, Mr. Matty, but are you driving, sir?
No, I'm not driving. And you're right, it is none of your business.
Sorry, sir.
That's all right, It's no offense. Why don't you join me?
It's very kind of you, sir, but not at the moment.
Are you married, Don?
Yes, sir, I'm afraid I am.
Oh, no. Don't be afraid. No, I'm glad to hear it. This is what happens to a bachelor when he makes a bloody fool of himself.
Well, not to worry, sir. Happens to all of us at one time or another. Excuse me, sir. Hello. Yes, it is. Who did you say? Yes, he's right here. It's for you, sir.
Ah, thank you. Hello. Oh, hello. Where are you? Where are you speaking from?
I didn't mean to shout you.
That's all right.
Well, of course I'm listening.
There's no hard feeling.
Are you sure? Are you sure it's our friend? You recognized him. I see.
Oh, listen.
Is he still in the flat?
Quite capable.
No, don't alter the arrangements. I'll see you in about 15 minutes.
Don't worry.
How much do I owe you?
Well, let me see. It'll be exactly 40 pieces.
Oh. Keep the change.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Good night.
Good night, sir. Thank you.
I shouldn't stay here too long, Mr. Matty. I'm afraid you've rather a busy evening ahead of you.
Where the hell have you been?
I had an appointment.
You had an appointment with me. You said 7 o'clock.
I know what I said. How long have you been here?
I've just told you, since 7.
Anybody phone?
No. Look, I'm supposed to be seeing another friend of mine at 9:30, so if it's all right with you...
Shut up, will you?
Well, if that's the sort of mood you're in, you can get stuffed. I didn't come here...
Please, shut up! Look, this is Max. Now, listen, let me do the talking. It didn't work. I searched the flat from top to bottom, couldn't find a damn thing. On top of which I think he saw me.
Well, who is it?
Judy, go in the bedroom and take your clothes off.
What?
You stupid bitch, do what I tell you. Get in the bedroom and take your clothes off.
Peter Matty! I want to talk to you.
Peter, what are you doing here?
Have you just been round to my flat?
Your flat? No, why?
What were you doing in Blomfield Road?
Blomfield Road?
Yes.
Well, when was I in Blomfield Road?
I saw you. You were in your car. It was half an hour ago.
Well, not me.
I saw you.
Look, I've been here all the afternoon. I took a friend out to lunch, and, well, we've been here ever since. But you seem in a bit of a state, Squire. What's wrong?
Someone just broken into my flat. The whole place has been ransacked.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I fail to understand what that's got to do with me. Oh, come on. Well, surely you don't think that I was responsible.
Were you?
You out of your tiny mind? I just told you I've been here all the afternoon.
What's going on, Max?
Now do you believe me?
4 pints of bitter nut.
Hello, Don.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Matty. I didn't expect to see you again this evening, sir.
I don't expect you did.
What would you like, sir?
Well, I'd like a large scotch, but I'll settle for a tomato juice.
Certainly, sir.
Don, earlier this evening, do you remember there was a man sitting along there in the bar there? He spoke to me on the way out.
Yes, Mr. Osborne.
Osborne?
Yes, sir.
Who is he?
Well, I'm not really sure who he is, sir. I believe he's something to do with the Arts Council. Shall I give you a moment?
The Arts Council?
Yes, sir, but I'm not sure.
Is he one of your regulars?
No, I wouldn't say that, sir. Although he's certainly been coming in here pretty regularly during the past couple of weeks. Funny you should be interested in Mr. Osborne. One lunchtime about a week ago, you were having a drink with a friend of yours. Max Lerner, I think his name is.
Yes, that's right.
Well, when you left, Mr. Osborne started asking me questions about it.
What sort of questions?
The sort you're asking me. Who is he? What does he do? Is he one of your regulars?
Were you able to satisfy his curiosity?
Oh, I told him Mr. Lerner was a journalist, and the only thing I knew about him was that he had alimony trouble.
Did he ask any questions about me?
No, he didn't. It was your friend he was interested in. Would you like Worcester sauce in the tomato juice?
Yes.
Seems to me, Peter, you've got to make your mind up. Either you want to get further involved in this business,
It's not a question of wanting to get involved. I am.
I don't agree.
Well, look. Just look what's happened in the last week. My flat's been ransacked. I was bloody nearly arrested. Max Lerner's refused to work for me.
Look, Peter, listen. Just listen, please. I can't account for what's happened during the past week. I don't know why your flat was ransacked. I don't know why Mortimer Brown changed the photographs, if he did change them. I haven't the faintest idea who this fellow Osborne is, but one thing I do know. None of these things would have happened if you hadn't tried to get friendly with Phyllis Dussel. Now, Peter, please. Whether you like it or not, you've got to make your mind up. Either you forget about this girl, put her out of your mind completely, or, well, you take the consequences. And who knows what they might turn out to be.
I'm sorry, Claude. I just can't get her out of my mind. It's no use. I've tried. I just got to find her. I've got to talk to her, and I've got to see her again.
But Peter, you have talked to her. You talked to her on the telephone. She said she didn't want anything more to do with you.
I don't think she was telling the truth.
Well, that's not what you said a few minutes ago when I questioned you about the call. You said she sounded unfriendly. Well, distinctly unfriendly.
I know what I said a few minutes ago. All right, I was wrong.
Look, Peter, you asked me for my opinion, and I'm just giving it to you. If you continue with this affair, if you insist...
Mrs. Frinton!
Come on down, Mrs. Frinton.
Sorry to disturb you,
That's
Mr.
all
Matty,
right.
but there's been a phone message for you, a Mrs. Cassidy.
Mrs. Cassidy?
Cassidy, I seem to know the name.
Yes, she's Sir Arnold Wyatt's housekeeper. What did she want?
Well, she'd like you to meet her tomorrow morning, if possible. She'll be in Fletcher's tea rooms about 11 o'clock.
In Halliday?
That's right.
Is that all she said?
No. She said she wanted to explain about the photograph.
The photograph?
That's what she said, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Frinton. Would you like a cup of coffee?
Oh, no.
Perhaps you'd like a drink.
Thanks, Mr. Matty. It's very kind of you, but I must get back. I'm trying to do my accounts, and oh, my goodness, I'm in such a frightful muddle.
What's happened, you know?
There's been a murder.
Murder?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chap, who owns the place?
The photographer.
Mortimer Brown.
That's right.
That's right.
He's been murdered.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me, officer, what's happened exactly?
There's been a murder, sir.
Yes, I know, but, I mean, what happened exactly? I mean, how was he murdered?
He?
Mr. Brown.
I'm afraid you're misinformed, sir. There's Mr. Brown now, over there.
Then who was murdered?
A woman, sir. A Mrs. Cassidy.